Sales and Marketing Live Q&A. Hello, everyone. My name is Tessa. I'm a marketing strategist, and this is Kai all day. She's a business coach, and we have your questions. Last week, we went through and did some of the questions. We're going to go through and answer some more questions that people submitted to us. Some of them are from our business clinic, which is something we do just to give back, and they submit their questions and we have like a mastermind environment. So some of them are going to be answered in here. If that was you and you said you were okay with being tagged in it, we're going to tag you. But if you have questions and you want us to answer, feel free to put it in the comments. We are live with you here. So if we see a question come up in the chat, we will do the question as best we can at the moment. But for now, we'll take some of these lovely little questions and dive in. So, okay, how do you create your reels for a Zoom guest interview? We just actually went through this today a little bit.
We'll let you start off because you're so good at this.
And the funny thing is, it said mine look weird. That's the way they said them. And typically when you see a reel come in with the wide format, it just sticks the wide format right in the middle and then puts a whole bunch of space above and beyond and below. And that's not bad if you are wanting to have closed captions or titles. So I have seen people use that space wisely. Kai loves to use emojis or little animation GIFs around our posts too. Yeah. We love a tool. We love Kapwing just because they do have some amazing features in there. We teach this when we are teaching people how to power post and to do a lot of content. But you can create little clips and it automatically zooms in to the speaker. It's the most beautiful thing ever. So if you are interested in how to create those reels, let us know because we can definitely do a how-to tutorial, not a tutorial, tutorial for you on how to create reels segments and really make the most of your content because that's what we teach in all of our everything that we do. We want you to be able to create as much as possible with as little effort as possible in the simplest way. But it does take somebody. I mean, there's this element of AI that's all around us, right? Everything that's out there, things can be done faster, but the fact is that a human is always going to be the best judge on all of these. So though technology can make it faster for you to create these clips or make it look great, you still need to have the right clip and the right message that's getting across. So take your time in what you're picking. So those little reels, make sure it's a concept that's short and sweet and impactful. And then making it is a lot easier when you use tools like Kapwing. So, but if you want to see how to make reels, just put reels in the chat and I'll reach out to you and we'll make sure that you get that, see it on the screen because that's half the battle. But I will put Kapwing. I wish that we could be a referral source for them because we do this all the time. Love this software. It is what you can actually share with your team and work on at the same time. So Kai can be moving things around and I could be like, are you kidding? This needs this animated GIF right here. And she can move things around and say, too big, Tessa. So work as a team and get more content out there. Do you have anything to add to that one?
Well, can you repeat her question again with her statement at the end?
Oh, yes. So how do you create your reels for a Zoom guest interview?
And then
mine look weird.
Okay. I was like, is it because it's boring or that's what I was trying to figure out. So yeah, I definitely love Kapwing. And I think, here's the thing is we're all trying to create this like perfect look. And at the end of the day, so right now you're probably watching us on YouTube or on Facebook or wherever it is. And we are in this rectangle. And so there are great ways when you have a team who's editing where we can stack Tessa on top and I can go on the bottom and it's beautiful and all the stuff. But the reality is even if we look like this and we're smaller, right? So it's just us in the middle of a long screen. You know what I'm talking about, guys, when you're looking at a reel.
Yes. And I can share my screen so that you all can see it a little bit more, if that's helpful. She's like, we're going to keep this short, Tessa.
Yeah, we are. But my point is that it doesn't have to be like, you know, Gary V or all these other people who are doing it this way. Like, what matters is the content. What matters is what is the message that you're saying. And so don't get lost in the fact that, you know, it has to look a certain way. Like, as long as it's not super blurry, as long as it's not like crazy, like when you say it looks weird, I really wish I could see the visual of what you
I know. Send me an example so we can help you.
Yeah.
But no, this one is Kai only, so it's not an interview. It was Kai as the main focus, but if it was an interview style, there'd be two people there, so it gets even smaller, right? And so Kai's using she's using the top space for a title that stays on so it can keep getting people's attention. And then she uses this space for her closed captions, which I love. So this one is a good example of how we use Kapwing to make one of those clips. But we also have a beautiful shot of Kai here. And if we wanted to make, there is a way to find. Okay. But if we wanted to resize the canvas to, and I did this backwards all the time, but a 9:16, and we want to say speaker focus, which pays attention to who it is. This is my favorite part. It's just one speaker, and in this part now it's automatically put Kai in there. How perfect is that, right? And then, like I said, we still could put text around it. We could have, you know, closed caption, whatever that might be. But I do think that it's about having the right software that makes it so that you can do this fast. And,
and if you don't know it, it's okay.
Yeah, if you don't, it's okay. It's okay. And like, you know, if it's in the middle, like the one that I showed you before, and you're using the space in a different way, or you have black around it, that's totally fine too. It's going to be fine. But it's about the content more than anything. On this one, I had a screen share, and I actually put my video below. So same thing, using the space, I actually moved part of it to where there was a screenshot here, and mine is down here. And then I still have closed captions. So it's just
way more tech savvy than the rest of us.
I am like too much tech savvy. But that's why you get a team that has those video editing skills. And then, you know, then you can give them examples of what you like, because that's what's going to get you to where you want to be anyway, is having examples, show them what you do like. And then usually you can find somebody who can make it happen.
Right. Because, you know, here's the thing. I remember I used to do this example about chip bags, like walking down the chip aisle. But here's the thing, like you can go down the chip aisle and you can have the prettiest chip bag, and if the flavor is like maple syrup and cockroach, you know what I mean, like the content is not appealing, is my point, you're probably not going to buy it no matter how pretty it is. But if it was like, you know,
maple cockroaches,
I couldn't think of anything. if it was like you know, an okay bag, it's just a regular chip bag, and you know, it was like sour cream and cheddar, you might, and that's your favorite, you're going to go for it. Like, what matters is what's inside, what is the content. And so that's where, going back to what Tessa said earlier, is it matters what clip you're choosing, right? Because sometimes we're going to pick the clip that we think is like, you know, like, hey, here's a great whatever. But if your audience doesn't care about what's being said, then
the reel does nothing for you.
Right.
and we're also using
where it really hits home with your audience. Don't try to get like, okay, well, it was really good, and we come into it like 30 seconds later, like, what's the first line that this person is saying that's so important that people would love? Put that there, and then the rest of the clip, like however you're going to do it.
And sometimes you have to cut out that 30-second beginning and just summarize it with a screen that shows, and you verbally say it over it, because you didn't say it in the way that was shortest way possible. I love when people say, like, I'm sorry, this email was so long, I didn't have time to make it short. Fact is it takes time to do reels that are impactful. And so do it well, do it right on the ones that you do post, and then you don't have to have as many. So post
is awesome if you're cool.
It is great. And I can't imagine going back now to any other software, especially because we can all collaborate and we all like to have things a certain way.
Yeah.
So we're like, no, that needs to be a different color. But to keep branding, to keep team on track, and then also to speed things along. So you don't upload 18, upload, download. It's like everybody gets access to those assets. So, all right, now we're going on to the next one. Although you guys got a little tutorial, so lucky you. How do I approach an influencer who I want to work with? This is Kai. So I'm going to throw this to Kai.
Okay, so an influence. Well, there's a lot of different avenues to do this. So there are actual places that you can go to, like influencer, kind of like
.io. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Where there are a bunch of influencers on there and you can go and you can sign up, and that's how you would, it's almost like they have an agent, but it's through this platform, right? So that's one way to do it. Then there are, like, most people who ask this though are probably really asking, how do I organically get an influencer's attention so that they like my stuff? Now, it depends on what you do. If you are a product-based business, sending the influencer your product to try with the hope that they review is always going to be great, especially if you really have put a lot of effort into this product. Then most likely they are going to, be like, wow, this is awesome, whatever. But most of the time, you're either paying to play or you are really doing the long game. And what I mean by the long game is you are liking their posts, you're commenting, you're sharing their stuff, you are trying to get them to see you as somebody who is worthy of their time. And I don't mean that like as though they're high and mighty, but you know what I'm saying? Like there are probably a lot of people tagging them. So you need to be doing something differently. And so there's this one guy I know and I follow, and he's hilarious. He does these little episodes, and it's always like him as the 4-year-old son and then him as the dad. And it's the 4-year-old son is like, has the mind of a 30-year-old, like super smart and sassy. But every time he does it, he posts and tags at Lynn Manuel, who is a producer, I want to say of like musicals or something like that. I don't really know. But so he always tags him, and he always says, if any of you know this person or have a connection, please. So, and he's been doing this for a long time, and I don't think it's happened. Right.
Oh. He's like, I am going to make this connection.
Yeah, but I mean, kudos to him for doing his best. Now, here's the other way. Right now, those are two extremes, but here's the other way is, and this is what Tessa always teaches, is it's your influencer hub, right? Mm-hmm. So if I have Tessa over, it's like, what is the game? Oh my gosh, what's the game? 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon.
Yes, exactly.
There you go. 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon. So who is the person you're trying to make contact with, or whatever it is? And then is there anyone that you know, like one person here that knows this person who knows this and work backwards? It's much easier that way. But is there anyone you know who could put you in contact with them? There are so many different ways to get in touch with an influencer. The point and what will really matter in the end is that some influencers, no matter how many times you tag them, they are busy. So they are going to, maybe they only do deals a certain way. Like maybe they say, and most of them, you'll know this because they'll have something in their link in bio, like, hey, if you want to work with me, you can email this person, or you can email here. So people who are willing to do that usually have that. So who I would personally be looking for is not the Gary V or Madonna or whoever, I don't even know who people are anymore. Whoever these people are, I would be looking for the person who has a micro niche of followers, anywhere from 1,000 to 10,000 followers, but they have a very engaged audience. Those people are more willing to have a conversation with you. They're most likely going to notice when you tag them, when you shout out to them. And then there's the other way of, like, so for example, I've done this in the past, and we've done this actually. So we're a part of a mastermind, and in the mastermind, I collaborated with the people in the mastermind. So it was one
Mhm.
way because we're already connecting on this level. Now we're peers and friends. And now here's another level. So now I was able to make those connections with these people who have a following online. So who are influencers in their own right. So that was a lot of different ways
No,
that
I think you covered that was amazing. It was amazing. I
yeah.
think the big picture of you have to build a relationship no matter who it is.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
and and all those different options for building a relationship were perfect. And Kai had a much longer list than I even thought in my head, so which is awesome. I think the big thing to understand about you is who, you have to understand your target audience completely and then
Mhm.
know who it is that's already in front of that audience. So once you do that research, then the influencers will become easier to see because you're actually seeing things from the perspective of your target
Yeah.
audience. But all those were so good. I'm going to have to break it up into like 15 different tips. That was so good. And always, and one of the things that gets you in front of an influencer that Kai didn't mention is you can comment on stories.
Yes.
Comment on stories because it is not just an emoji like a heart, not just adding the emoji, but actually commenting an emoji instead. And that will get you in front of people better. That
Yeah.
was a little extra tip that we usually do in one of our
And one other
sessions.
thing to think about before she reads this last question is make sure that your page makes sense to the influencer. Like, would
Mm.
they know what the alignment would be if they're going to your page and you're selling like tallow lotions or something like that, but then they go to your page and it's you're baking bread and you're feeding a cat and you're like it doesn't make sense, right? Like there's so many different things that they don't understand, then it's going to be harder for them to see the opportunity. So you really have to understand how you're showing up as well. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like nobody's looking for a perfect feed anymore and nobody's looking for, the best filming. It just has to make sense to what you're actually trying to get them over there for, what like where they can look at you and be like, oh, I can definitely see how we could work together.
Right. Because, if you're working with high end influencers, they have an image to keep up.
Yeah.
So if your brand can't keep that image up for them, then they won't work with you. Sorry. All right. We got another one. What's the fastest way to grow my audience?
Ooh.
Those are good, you guys.
Started
Thank
100
you.
years ago. No, just kidding.
So exactly though, I mean, like start early, period, end of story. Like the fastest way to grow an audience is to start,
Yeah,
period.
100%.
Because you got to get going on it. You can't just have a page out there and that's going to grow your audience. That's not how the internet works. Not anymore. Maybe at one point that was, you just existed and showed up and it would grow.
Yeah.
No. So I do think that we have a whole series of how to grow your audience. I don't know, 17, 15, 20, I don't know how many. So what I'm going to say on that one, because I know we wanted to finish up a little bit early, but if you want advice on how to grow your audience, check out our whole series. We have 3 videos and you just go to our Move to CEO page. It's live on all of them, but we will give you links to that. But it goes everything from, building, well, I'll let Kai say a couple.
Well, I think, here's the thing with how to grow your audience is we just talked about the second question that we answered today was influencers, right? But really the bottom line is collaboration will always be the fastest way to grow your audience. And keeping in mind that you need to have a feed, understand your off. Like I think it's easy for people to get fixated on how many followers they have, and they forget that it's a lot like when you're walking down the road, and let's say you're on a new street and it's all of these beautiful stores, boutiques, whatever, right? Maybe there's one that's a boutique store. Maybe there's a plant shop. Maybe there's a retro shop. Maybe there's a candy store. And, depending on what your personality is, why you came to this place is going to really matter to you. And what they're putting out in their window display will matter to you, right? So if you're just like, I'm all over the place, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know my message, I don't know my offer, then it's hard for people to follow you. Doesn't mean they won't. it's just harder because they don't actually know like what to expect. So there
Mhm.
is a certain consistency where what is your message? Repeat that message over and over and
Over and
over.
over, only 4% see at any given time. And most people do not see your previous posts.
Yeah.
So even though we did a 3-part series, which I put in the chat,
Yeah.
you can hop into any one of those. And it is extremely unlikely, other than us putting, hey, here's our previous post. Here's the number 2 that we're on. Here's number 3. That's how people can binge watch. And we do have a series over on YouTube for that reason. We created our own binge worthy series, was like 5 videos in a row. So if you want to go, that was intentional for us to create and build an audience that got the information that they needed.
Yeah.
But I do think we have so many tips over there.
Yeah.
Like I said, collaborating, and that wasn't probably in all 3 shows we had something about collaboration, because it's so much a part of what we do. It's how we built our business. Even if you are on social media, it is the core. It's relationship. It's people do business with people, and that's what you got to do to grow your audience. So, hey, I see you all watching in the chat. So if you're watching us live, just let us know, #live. If you have a question that you want us to ask for next week, because I only have 2 more in here. If you want to ask a question, you can ask on this post or submit to us. And then the last thing I'll leave you guys with is that we have our event for the Social Virality event. We have one coming up next week. You still have time to sign up. You're going to have to do it fast if you want to get in for Tuesday and Wednesday. It's 3 hours each day, and we are actually doing it with you. It is not just come and watch how to train on this. It's not that. It's we're actually doing and teaching you how to get your posts to go viral and what formula there is behind that. Because look, it is done all the time, and you guys don't realize that it's happening in almost every viral post that you see out there. It's been done, and you just need to know so you can replicate it.
Yeah.
So that link is in the chat as well. If it's in the post, actually, and I will put it in the chat. But that is movetoceo.com/go viral. And just because we love you and we want to give you the fast track in that, we are going to do guest pass for it. Don't you think, Kai? Should we give them the guest pass where they get to kind of bypass some? We love you. If you're here, you have a mission, obviously, but usually we do visit people's pages and we agree with their mission, like Women Helping Women. Obviously, we spend a lot of time every week. We're over here in Women Helping Women Entrepreneur Group. But I am going to put the link for the guest pass. It just helps you to bypass one step and get directly in to book a time with us so that you can get into that event. Is there anything else that you wanted to cover before we take off? So I have time to put the link in.
Yeah. I think for that third question, it really is, they can find it inside of those 3 videos. And I would suggest watching all 3 videos because they're all different. But if you just take a few of those pieces, not just one, but a couple of those, and integrate it, you're going to have a much better success rate in terms of growing your audience quickly.
Yes, and follow the page, like, comment, share, but make sure that you bookmark us and hit the bell so that you get notifications. We try to be here at 3 p.m. now. That's our new time because we love our Hawaii people as well. So we pushed our time a little bit later. It's 3 p.m. Eastern time right now on Thursday. We'd love to see you guys next week, and we just appreciate you being here. So have a blessed week, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Do we have the silent disco?